Hey everybody, I wanted to share this little snip from this Texas documentary. It has to do with the point that I mentioned before. So we're over here with the living large in the fattest city, Houston, Texas, and I want to show you what this lady says.
Walked or cycled to school. These days, it's less than 20%. Jordan couldn't walk to his school safely even if he wanted to. The surrounding suburbs have no sidewalks.
Okay, so the guy is talking about how they used to walk to school or ride bikes to school. And yeah, he's bringing up this thing about safety because of sidewalks, but I'll talk more about that later.
Linda doesn't even let her son walk to the bus stop.
We're sitting here. We're not far from the school bus. Not the school bus, but the stop sign. That's where the school bus picks the children up for school in the morning and drops them in the afternoon. And in the morning, we drive them to the bus stop. And it's a good, 50 feet down there?
So the bus stop evidently is on this corner right here. If you look it up on the map and go back in the video, they show the bus stop. So because of safety, they're saying the streets aren't safe to walk on, but yet they walked on those streets years ago. But here is Texas, where they have all of these stray dogs. They have an overpopulation of dogs, but they refuse to walk to the bus stop. I wonder why that might be. I don't think the documentary person, the narrator, is telling the truth about children cannot safely walk on the street. Pit bull attacks all over Houston, pit bull attacks on men and women and children, including at bus stops. The link for that will be in the description.
That's where the school bus picks the children up for school in the morning and drops them in the afternoon. And in the morning, we drive them to the bus stop. And it's a good, 50 feet down there? But we can find many ways to justify driving to the corner. But
I wonder if any of those ways have to do with stray dogs. So that's just a quick little clip from the documentary. It's very interesting that they just drive their kids to the bus stops now. Like, you would think if what we say about dogs and the modern dog propaganda is that dogs help us be active, well, Texas is full of dogs, yet people in Texas will find tons of excuses to not be active. And if any of those excuses are their kids being attacked by dogs out in public, well, that's a legitimate excuse, and it lends to their obesity. But check this out. Nearly a quarter of Texans would prefer pets to children. So they're sitting at home, they have kids or they don't have kids, but they rather give effort to their dogs. No wonder they have so many stray dogs. Look at this one. More than 2/3 of Texan pet owners are more concerned with their pet's diet than their own. So if you're only concerned with your pet, you got to worry about I Am Science diet and duck protein and all this stuff. Then you're not going to care about yourself, and then you're not going to care about your kids. Why would you? You got to take care of this dog. The average Texan dog owner has 1.7 dogs. So, you can't just have one dog, you got to have at least more than that. So on average, 1.7. That means people have multiple dogs each. So my point about obesity in Texas and enabling them to own more dogs by taking all of their stray dogs for them, basically helping them with the symptoms of all their stray dogs. At the end of the day, we're just lending to Texas obesity. Taking planes and ships and trucks, taxpayer 501c3 donation paid for vehicles to Texas, bringing those dogs back, calling them high flying pups. We're just doing work for Texas that they could be doing. Get those chubs out there, get those chubby people out there, and let them walk around with some bite-proof pants and bite-proof shirts, and let them go out there and round up those dogs. I bet they'll lose a lot of weight. I bet they'll feel a lot healthier. That's kind of a joke, but Texas has their own work to do, their own stuff to take care of, And any state that goes over there and takes all those dogs back to another state and sells those to the people in their state, you're just covering up a symptom and helping them ignore the problem of all the dogs they have over there. When you take a bunch of stray dogs from Texas, what you're doing is making stuff like this happen more often. 2 dogs attack a man out for a morning walk. You know, you go over to Houston, wherever else in Texas, you get a bunch of these stray dogs, and then for a little bit the community can be like, oh yeah, we just gave those dogs to, you know, Oregon. They're going to rehab them, worm them, give them their vaccinations. Everything's going to be okay. We don't have to defend ourselves. Pit bulls are just the most precious. And then people go out in the community and this happens to them. So they can't go out and lose weight. They can't go out and lead by example to their little kids when they're by going out for a walk. Hey, mom and dad went for a walk. You kids should too. They can't do that because they're getting attacked by dogs. How can they be concerned with obesity when they're so busy dealing with dogs? A pet dog mauled 2 brothers at a Houston area home, then was shot and killed by first responders. You know, all that community effort to round up some dogs, to kill some dogs, and you're not going to put community effort into like running and hiking or fixing up the road so they can ride their bikes to school, like they mentioned in that documentary. You know, how much money goes into rounding these dogs up, and then the money that they have to spend repairing these people after they're completely thrashed by these dogs. If we put all that effort into the Texans, if Texas put that kind of effort that goes into responding to all these crazy dog attacks, they wouldn't be so obese. They could ride their bikes to school. They could walk to the bus stop. But instead, we put all this effort into dogs. In my Oregon example, I mean, there's like hundreds of different channels that this is going to affect people in the long run. Like, for example, are people going to go to Texas and like get a fat kid and bring him over here to Oregon and let him hike for a week like a student exchange program? No, probably not. Because for one, they probably won't get a tax shelter like these animal rescues do. And for two, that does sound like a pretty cool idea. Like, take a chubby kid from Texas that wants to lose weight, bring him to Oregon and let him like do a bunch of hikes for a week, kind of like the student exchange program. We could do something like that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to bring a bunch of nasty dogs over to Oregon. And why aren't people thinking like that? Well, like this study figured out, they just don't give a crap about their kids. They don't care. They'll feed their kids Cheetos, cakes, low nutritional content stuff while they sit there and be more concerned about their pets than their kids. So there it is. That's the obesity crisis in Texas, and how adopting dogs from Texas just to bring them to Oregon, at the end of the day, it's just making Texas people be more obese, and it's helping them be more concerned about their dogs than they are about their kids. And that's not very good.